still got a bit of a sore throat and a bit of a runny nose, but I've had it since I had it since last Thursday, and it went through its worst over last weekend. And
well, remember, a lot of people, it's not that bad for most people. It's just that the people that are fragile and sensitive, and they are out there. And believe me, we'll get to that in our conversation. But even
we're in the conversation now, so I might as well just say that.
All right.
It's always going to be hardest on those who have a propensity for getting sick, or the elderly, or the very, very young. And the important part is to never panic, and that's the main thing you want to take away, is that you don't want to panic in a situation like this, and this is exactly what people are doing. They're panicking.
Well, I want to tell my whole story, and then I want to get to that, because it's like it's kind of like the end of the story for me. That's why I'm calling it. It's all about me, goddammit.
This is the David Anderson Show.
Yes.
With your host, David Anderson.
I'm taking over.
I'm just some guy over here.
Yeah, he's got the cream of some young guy. Yes.
Yeah, call me Roy.
You can call me Ray, or you can call me Jay.
But you better
or you can call me an old fart, because I know the commercial.
He is. He's older. He's older than me, folks. But
a little bit, yeah. And I'm too old for certain women that I've met, apparently.
Right. So you're angry.
Yeah, I'm angry. I'm pissed. I got the anger. Why must I be such an angry young man?
Why
I don't know.
Why are you angry? What's the matter?
Okay, now again, this is healthy anger. Okay, anger is a healthy thing to have. Anger at the world, anger at things in your life, whatever.
As long as it doesn't translate into hate, I would say.
No, hate leads to what is it?
Hate leads to suffering.
Suffering. But I guess, okay, my story begins,
Should I start the sad violin music?
Maybe, I don't know.
All right.
We start at the beginning of time.
And cue.
First, the earth cooled, and then the dinosaurs came.
And they got too big and fat.
Yeah.
And they all turned into oil. And then the Arabs came, and they bought Mercedes-Benzes.
This is why I was hoping this would be like a clip show. We could just throw stuff in. Maybe it's more work for you. I'll give you something to do. Like your life isn't busy enough with like dying and everything.
David, we're too talented for clips. Okay, we're too funny.
Hey man, hey girl. So okay. I guess my story, my new story begins. Sort of the new chapter is, and this actually will tie into the end of the story when we get to the plague that's going around now. We'll be there and back again, perhaps. So I'm working at a grocery store, which I will not name the chain because everybody's doing their best. It's just that if
you're working right now?
I am not working right now.
Oh, but you've spoken of the chain though in many other productions.
Yes.
You'd have to pay attention.
Yeah, we're many months later.
And people have a short attention span.
People get to these shows. Yeah, it's I left in let me see, October of 2019, and we're recording this now. We're the last of humanity. It's
the Ides of March.
It's the Ides of March. It is, and St. Patrick's Day is coming. We'll see how that goes.
Oh shit! I forgot to get corned beef. Sorry,
we can't get anything now. So I leave mostly because it was a combination of I'm old, I was working night shift, I was stocking shelves overnight. It was a good solid American Union job. I made very little money, but I made enough to live on, and I had health care and everything.
You worked for a dick who was on a power trip.
Yeah, I did. I shall not mention names, but I knew he was leaving, but I'm like, I got money in the bank. They're giving me too much hours than I asked for. It's like, I want this much time. And they're like, well, we'll do our best, but we're always but they were always understaffed. Right. So I would come in anyway, and I would work, and I would have more money than I need. Now, of course, it's always good. More money is always better, of course. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I want to work this much and make this much money, and then I'll kind of figure out my life. You want to go home and rethink your life. So I don't want to make death sticks. So I'm doing it, I'm working, and I'm like, they pulled a dick move on me where I had to sign a piece of paper that said I would be productive, or they were going to, there would be repercussions.
That's kind of subjective, isn't it?
It is. Well, I was never up to their high, impossibly high human standards.
Well,
Where
that's
they
just that's what you call at will, right? They can get rid of you at will whenever they want.
Well,
Right?
this guy wanted to boot me out almost like the second day. He was kind of like being a rude asshole, but I'm like, whatever. And I was withstanding it. I'm like, I got money in the bank. Star Wars is coming up. That's like a third of my decision was, I'm old. I don't have much time left in me. I've got money in the bank, and Star Wars is coming up. And I'm like, I don't need this anymore. So I worked out my shift. I didn't like have a fit after he sort of did that to me. And I'm like, I called the boss and I said, who wasn't him, by the way, it was the guy above him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm not coming in anymore. And I didn't give an explanation. I didn't really need to give an explanation. This is a grocery store where people show up or don't show up and don't get fired and are rude. Like, it doesn't matter, because this is society. This is how society functions, people. You don't understand. So when you're a dick to somebody at a grocery store who's not doing great, dude, they are working their butt off, and they're working at a place where they won't even like have a safe bathroom, because they don't give you a safe bathroom, and it's in a scary neighborhood, which is where I worked at night, where people wandered in. We couldn't even like lock the front door because people couldn't come in, because it's not like they're going to have some sort of security system. God forbid they'd like care or have any security out there.
Yeah.
So like homeless people wander in, and I'm like, I don't need this. So I left, and I come back. First of all, I realized I kind of like had like mild, and I'm saying mild PTSD from this. I was literally like kind of like what the fuck do I do now? I felt like Tom Hanks having like that shaky cry for like 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh man, I don't know. So it kind of took me a while to sort of acclimate back to, cue the road is long.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't heavy. He's my brother. And so I'm like, well, all right. So then, Star Wars comes up. Everything seems to be like, okay, I'm going to rethink my life. And then, let's see, I kind of like hung out for a couple of months around I was like post Christmas. I'm like, okay, I can get stuff done in my life. Now I can actually be on somewhat human schedule, and not this weird thing where I have no life. Had to get some dental work done. I'm getting some dental implants. I'm missing a couple of teeth on the side. It's not too bad, but I need teeth, and otherwise my mouth is going to get all fucked up.
Otherwise, it's going to look like my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. His teeth are going to start falling out. And yeah, you might want to get that looked at. I mean, I think you have some healthcare, don't you?
I do, but I have no patience for dentists. That's the big problem.
Look, and I'm telling you this. You're the dad. Like, dude, you got to. What advice would you give your kid?
Well, my wife and daughter have gorgeous teeth, and they'll always have gorgeous teeth.
Is it because they go to the dentist regularly?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Me, what I have when it happens is horrible lingering pain that has me in tears on the floor, and then I eventually have to go to the dentist as a result of it.
Not a good
I usually wait until the very last minute. And also, a lot of things just sort of converge, because the last time I had to have horrible dental surgery was right before we moved back to the city. I was sitting in an emergency room on painkillers the night before we were moving back, so it just sort of all happened at the same time.
That's not the best way to do things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know that. I'm
aware, but dude, we're not talking about me. We're talking about you now.
Me.
Back to you.
Yeah, therapy session about you. We'll work on you. So I'm like, okay. So I go to the dentist. I use up the last of my my healthcare, my insurance, to get like the first part done. Which, by the way, insurance doesn't cover most of this. It's somehow some sort of cosmetic thing. Even though it's like if you don't have your teeth in certain places, your whole face is going to get fucked up, and your skull is going to shift and everything. Yeah. So I get the first part done, and man, it fucking hurts like a mofo. Imagine Mike Tyson beat the shit out of you.
Didn't they put you on some kind of painkillers to give you?
You know what? They did, but not really. They're like, okay, here's I think it was like Percocet or Vicodin or something. But I'm like, this. I was always thinking like, I'm kind of drug free, I believe in myself, and I'm okay with like regular pain. It's when sometimes you'll have pain and it's like, this doesn't feel like the right pain. I've had worse pain. I've had worse pain when it's like when I've had like a cracked tooth. That was worse. but this was close. But I'm like, I think I can ride this out, and I did. But still, the left side is still a little funky. The right side's completely healed. Everything's great. Basically, what they did was they went in where the holes were, put a couple screws in, and then it has to like sew it up, and then it has to the gum has to heal over. But that is pretty much healed, except for on the right tooth's fine. The left tooth, there's like the exposed tooth. The next to it is there's not enough gum tissue covering it, so it's like very sensitive to like cold.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. How much did all this cost you?
Well, it didn't cost me anything. My mom paid for it.
How much did it cost her?
About $4,000.
Ugh.
I know, just for 2 fucking teeth. I know,
but it's racket. This is a racket. Dentistry is a racket.
Well, this like, I think it's basically it's paid for the whole thing. So it's like, because the last few checkups I've had since then have been like, no, it's that we already pay for it. You don't have to like do anything. Just come in. So I have that happen, and I'm kind of like wandering around in pain a little bit, but like it's manageable pain. So you got to be a grown up and be like, this is gonna hurt for a while. Once the actual tooth goes in, because the next appointment's in May, motherfucker, is going to be when they put in like a nub, and I'm looking for nubs, in all the long paces. They're going to put these nubs in. They're going to basically cut it open a little bit, put the nubs in.
This is what's great, especially with you, is that you tell these horrible, disgusting, terrible stories, but then pepper them with pop culture references.
Yes, because I'm old, and I'll get to that part later. So the nubs go in, or the nubs are going to go in May, and then I think in a few weeks after, so maybe by end of May, the actual teeth will go in.
It's pronounced teethus.
The teethus. I still I ain't got no line. Was it?
I ain't got no money. I ain't got no teethus. And I definitely ain't got no driver's license. So what can the fuck can you do to me? Freaky deaky.
Okay. So that was the whole thing. So the teeth will go in, according to the dentist. When the tooth goes in, it'll block the sort of the exposed area, and it won't hurt. Now, if he does it and I'm still in pain, I'm gonna have a conversation with this man. And
what are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say, look here, motherfucker. So I got that to look forward to. That's in May. So then what do I do? Yeah, so I'm still on the dating apps and whatnot, and I'm meeting women, and I'm very often getting like, oh, you're a nice guy, but like I don't want to be happy. You're.
Well, I don't want to be happy.
That's the way I see it, because it's all about me. But it seems like, why would you not want to date me? I'm an awesome guy. I'm good. Now, I am the best job I could get was working at a damn grocery store stocking shelves. And especially women around my age, honestly, they want somebody to hitch their wagon to. And they're sick of dating, man boys, and I'm okay compared to most guys. I'm hygienic. I can do movie quotes. I'm decent. I'm not abusive or anything that I know of.
You're a real catch. You're a catch.
I'm a catch. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm decent. I'm certainly, maybe I need work. I don't know. But all men do. I mean, you're perfect evidence of that. You're a married man, and there's a whole lot of things wrong with you, and you're fine. God damn it.
Well, I don't.
Hey, hasn't booted you to the curb yet.
I don't quite know how I managed to be so fortunate, except that I live in a town filled with beautiful women. Mm-hmm. And they come to this place from other places, mainly places like where you live, right? It's like we screen all the women before they come here. And I was just able to date. I mean, I had like a real dating boom in my 20s. I mean, they just, but there was time before that was incredibly awkward, where I was painfully shy.
That's the funny thing is, like, I'm awkward, but at this point in my life, I really don't give a fuck. So I will almost like sabotage myself by just being my full weird self. You're supposed to hold it in a little bit, but I'm like, fuck it, they're gonna figure it out soon, and I can't lie. So I'm just put it out there, and like the thing, hey, you're funny and you're entertaining, but I can't hitch my wagon to you. And I date successful men that make money, and I can't do this. So
I'm somebody's kept woman who keeps me high all the time.
Yes. Oh yeah. There's a lot of
in furs and in clothing and in shoes,
Well, see,
and women just shop or something.
That's the women I can get. Now, God bless them, but they're all high on the weed. They're all full of tattoos. I guess no judgment on that. I guess. I mean, I have to keep my area open. But I am old. I guess I'm old fashioned. I guess. I just want a nice girl with large breasts.
With what?
You cough over my good line. I just want a nice girl with large breasts to be nice to me. That's all. I don't need I'm not asking for the world. She doesn't have to be like the most beautiful woman in the world. She can be cute. I don't mind. She can be a little overweight. You know, it would be nice if I could find a woman that weighs less than me, which is more difficult now because of that job. It whittled me down to like mid 150s. I've somehow been gained a little bit of weight. I'm like up to like 160. I'm like 5'10 plus. I was before that. I mean, when I started there, I was like mid 190s. I was a little.
I think all your weight just somehow transferred to me.
Well, get off your fat ass.
It's tough.
I won the argument. Okay, so I'm like.
I like food. I like to eat food. I like lots of food.
Man. Trust me, I do too. It's just I eventually. Well, also being poor, that will help you count calories because you don't have enough food. you want to stretch it.
When we first started talking, back a few years ago, you said that the main staple of your diet was hamburger helper, right?
Yeah, I've kind of
helped your hamburger helper make a great meal.
Yeah. You don't even need the hamburger; it's fine on its own.
I don't know why they call this hamburger helper. It does just fine on its own.
And he's frying up like the tuna helper or whatever. I don't even know. I
like it better than tuna helper myself. You're the gourmet around here, Ed.
Yeah.
Real tomato ketchup, Eddie? Nothing but the best.
Oh man, good times, man. Remember when Chevy Chase was funny?
We just keep doing vacation jokes, vacation, and all kinds of stuff.
Well, hopefully we won't be putting our dead moms and dads on the roof, or dragging them. Let me just
interrupt you because I feel like you have something here. You have some kind of gold in your story, and in your stories, and in the way you're telling them. It seems to me like you could consider seriously getting into stand-up. Because you're doing very good at this whole idea, which is what stand-up is supposed to be, where you basically, it's like a Festivus for the rest of us, and you air your grievances, and you're doing them in a very funny way, and plus you have really good timing anyway.
I try to.
And you have no notable accent that I can detect, and you could actually get up there with a microphone on an open mic night and just start unleashing a lot of this stuff.
Believe me, I've even got like a couple of stand-up comedy books that I haven't even read yet, which is me being an idiot. The problem with that is you hear me talking, I'm already starting to bitch about women, and look, this is a very how do I put this, matriarchal society here.
It's a humorless society, filled with incredibly unfunny women that are calling themselves stand-up comedians.
I love women, and they can be funny. Believe me, I love female comedians. They can be funny.
But the thing is, yes, you're right about that right now. But I think people are going to have enough of it, and they're going to want to get back to the things that make them laugh. I do not want to look at Hannah Gatsby telling me about how horrible her fucking life is, and not being funny. I felt this way about Chris Gethard too, and I know Chris Gethard because he's married to one of my friends, and I saw his HBO show, and it was just nothing but his confessional about his psychosis and his problems and his constant appointments with his therapist and talking about all of his hang-ups and his neuroses. And there were a couple of moments in there where I did laugh, but most of the time I was just thinking, my God, what is wrong with you? You're supposed to be making us laugh, and instead you're making us feel sorry for you, and that's not how a comedian is supposed to work. And I saw this as the beginning of the end of stand-up comedy. For me, stand-up comedy is like, Louis C.K., George Carlin, Bill Burr, funny. Oh my God, funny. He was hilarious. Joe Rogan is funny. People like that. And it's just not, and we're just going to continue to cancel these people out of the culture because we don't like them or we don't like what they do or something like that.
Look, I want to challenge you on that, sir, about cancel culture and why First of all, you don't have to deal with somebody. If you don't like somebody, you have every right to get them out of the fuck out of your life. You're living
Well, you
your
have
life
every right to walk away from them, but you don't have every right to call them out in public and try to destroy them. That's just my problem.
Oh, okay, I would agree with that.
Yeah, Twitter. I mean, you don't need to kick. I went to this guy. He's so offensive. Oh my god, and all that. Well, and that's old news. We don't need to talk about that.
If I'm dealing with somebody like that I really don't like, and they're talking about stuff I really disagree with, I'm like,
get up and walk away, or turn off the TV, or turn off the computer, or do something.
I could get in an argument with them. Hell, you can actually have the truth on your side, but people will not believe it. They're going to believe what they believe. And look, I'm the same way. I believe what I believe. There's no change in my mind most of the time because I sit on the toilet for 2 hours. I got lots of time to think about everything. I'm certainly not reading those damn stand-up comedy books. I know
you
that.
really do like that toilet, don't you? I do.
I
would want to get out of there as quickly as possible. I hate.
No. See, you're a dad. That's the whole thing. That's your only time where you can just sit and not have to deal with anything.
I do a lot of reading. I mean, I've been through many books, but
the longer you can hide in there, that's why guys are in there for so long. I learned it from my dad. It's like it's the only really safe place you can go. You gotta lock that door and get your book. And you're set for the day, man. But I'm not going to talk about my dad, at least not right now. So, where was I?
Don't talk about your toilet habits either.
Of my life. I was talking.
Well, you were talking about how you had a hard time. You're having a hard time with women, and women are stupid.
I'm having a hard time with women, much like most men are. Okay, because they're either single and they're.
Well, they are. Yeah, there's no sexism because if each gender, if each party is equally humiliated, equally stupid, equally whatever, there's no sexism involved. I was thinking about that. What the hell was I thinking?
Look, everybody. I always feel like everybody's an idiot, and men are stupid in their way, and women are stupid in theirs.
Oh, it was Lily Singh, who is completely unfunny, talking about how women are not being educated. Like 130 million.
They're being more educated than men because men have given up. Boys have given up.
She was trying to turn it into a sexist thing by saying that 130 million women across the world are not being educated.
In the world, not in America.
But the thing is, how many men are not being educated too? If both parties are being equally oppressed in that way, it's not sexist.
That's true. I mean, although I will say that there probably is more sexism towards women in some of the, as our president would say, the shithole countries.
The shithole countries.
They're a little less socially evolved and they treat women not as well.
Yeah. But also, I mean, like if you're looking at places where life is cheap, everyone's going to be treated badly, you know? Mm-hmm. And that was sort of my problem with Bernie Sanders. I do like Bernie Sanders, but I don't think we're ready.
God damn it. Fuck him. I'm still pissed.
I don't think we're ready for his brand of socialism, because we're still too greedy in this, and this would lead into the coronavirus thing too. I know how you feel about Bernie.
He is trying to take over the Dem. Now look, he's an independent, and that's fine. You won't. But like, if you want to come in, I'd say I'm kind of a Republican from say 30 or 40 years ago is what I am. I'm right there with like the being like fiscally conservative, but I'm a little more open on the social issues.
I think but you said something very interesting there, because I would never peg. Number one, I'd never peg you for a Republican. But the thing about it is, I don't consider myself a Republican. I'm not as hung up on money because I've never had much of it anyway. But and I'm not really hung up on some of their idea. But the thing is, I think all of us, every single one of us, even the fucking unemployed college kid in his parents' basement right now, has a little bit of both parties in them. They have a little bit of independent. They're a little bit anarchist. They're a little bit socialist. They're a little bit conservative, and they're a little bit liberal. I think that's what makes up people, and it's become more clear now than ever that people are this unusual but kind of refreshing mix of different political ideals. It's like, I believe in being fiscally conservative. Yeah, I believe in a strong defense. I belong in a strong military, and I also believe that healthcare should be easily accessible. I think health insurance should be taken completely out of the equation, because that's the real problem. I think that women should have the right to choose. I am not completely pro-life, but I also believe that abortion is murder. I do look at it that way too. It's a very mixed, complicated bag.